Hello everybody, welcome to Scrapcraft and Stitchery. I have a lot going on my desk because today I'm working in my Maximal mini journal, which I will repeat. I'll let you know. So the idea behind here is to pair a meaningful quote with a focal point image and create a page. So this is an inspirational journal that is full of quotes that I find meaningful, and I'm kind of going from this page, which I did last week, which the quote was, "Never, no, never, did nature say one thing and wisdom another," which is a quote by Edmund Burke, because I had this owl image that I wanted to use as my focal point, and I wanted a quote wisdom because owls are wise. And it was, but as I was making the page had other meanings for me, and I did do this on video, and that's posted from last week, so you can look that up. But if you're interested in that. But this page really made me slow down and walk away and come back. And so I'm trying to carry on that lesson and see if I can find something. So I found this quote, and this is the quote that will be for the next page. And sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two deep breaths. And this is a quote by Eddie Hillesum, who I had never heard of, but I found this quote. I talk to Chat a lot about what I'm doing, and ChatGTP helps me with a lot of things, and to kind of reflect on some of the things, because sometimes if I say something and Chat says it back to me, it's just very deep. And then so Chat gave me this quote, and I found this person, Eddie Hillesum, who I've never heard of before. So I looked a little bit into her life because this was such a beautiful quote. And this is a picture of her, and she is just so inspirational. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her a little bit later, but she's kind of going to become the center of this page. And so what I want to do is I'm going to do the Maximal, getting back to the Maximal mini journal. So this will be a focal point. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use this in my personal journal, and I'll use one of these on this page. And I'll probably write about this in my other journal, in my writing journal, but I wanted to have that. And so, but one of the things, as I was reading more and more about her, she also talked about the mountain lupines. So I'm going to, and I am not a great watercolor artist by any means, but I'm going to try and do a little bit of watercolor here, and I might do a practice. And I think this really speaks to kind of slowing down and letting the page speak. And this is the Maximal mini journal, back to the Maximal mini journal again, is packing meaning, and I didn't really intend for that. I really just kind of meant to pack it full of beautiful things to look at. But it's also an inspirations journal, and it's really about finding meaning. And I'm finding that, you know, here we are on the third page, and this is pretty profoundly impacting my life, and I'm slowing down to learn the lessons that this journal is teaching me. And I'm glad you're here and you're coming along with me for this, and hopefully it's not more than you were really looking for. So I brought this out. I have cut some of this down. This is Strathmore watercolor paper that I'm working on today, and I'm going to attempt to do a little bit of watercolor, so come along for that. This is cold press watercolor paper, and it's 140 pounds. And today I didn't want to worry about these book pages getting damaged when I was trying to do Mountain Lupine watercolor. So I opted for actually using the correct paper today. I don't always do that, as if you watch my channel, you will see me do again and again. So I've cut some pages down, and I've watched a tutorial on how to do this, which I can link for you in the description box below if you want a fuller tutorial. I've cut this down to fit this page because I was kind of just thinking something like this. It's really interesting, and I don't, as I have mentioned, I am not a super duper great watercolor artist. I watched a tutorial and now I'm doing this. But the colors we want to use today, I'm going to use the purple in my, this is a transparent watercolors kit. I'm going to use yellow and green. I'm going to kind of mix these colors. I'm going to pull some of these off and mix them over here. And I might use a little black because, you know, I might to get a little bit darker value. But I'm probably going to just use the colors. And I have, this will be dirty water, and this will be the clean water. And I think I've about run out of time today. I'm just gonna pick some of this up on my brush and pull it over here so that I have some color going on. And actually, this is probably not the way. Anyway. These are my watercolors. This will work as my palette. I'm going to try this as a practice on here and see how that goes. So lupines are kind of a spike flower, and so what you want to do is just make these individual flowers on a spike, and you don't want to fill in completely. And you're going to make them wider at the base. They'll come out farther as they go down. Correct dimensionality so they're not too flat here. I'm going to leave room at the bottom of here. And then I wanted to add in some more color. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of purple and put that there. I don't want that to be too dark. But I'm going to mix this in where it's still wet and let the colors mix. I had originally considered using yellow flowers, yellow roses for this. And I kind of, like I said, as I was reading about her, and I found where she was talking about the lupines, and she was and the beauty in her world, which there was a lot of really ugly stuff going on around her in her world, and she found the beauty and was able to see like the beauty of the flowers and the things around her. now I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow back into this green to lighten it up. These are still very wet, so it shouldn't mix. And then I'm going to go back into the green and start to add a little bit of stem to connect these very delicately. Going to kind of come in and fill in around here a little bit. So these look kind of like they're in the background and they're just kind of in there, and it adds a little bit more color like you'd see in a real flower where they have a little bit of variation, and you know, it looks like this is just kind of filling in, like I said, a little bit of that blue color just to fill this out. It gives it a little bit more dimension. Lupines have these long kind of plaited leaves like that. And so I'm just going to draw a few of those coming down into here from there, kind of indicate that there's some greenage. So I'm pretty happy with this, quite frankly. So I'm gonna have to make these smaller. So I think I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush, which I have here. This one's a little bit finer, to get some idea of lupines on here. But I think that is quite lovely flowers. I love the how well these have come out. I might add a little bit more around over here in just the blue in the background, to give that just a bit more of very faint color going on in the background. It's kind of what I want, just to make these look like they're fading out. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside to dry and come back and try again to make something that's a little bit more appropriate sized for my journal. But this is lovely. I am pretty pleased with this and how that looks. I'm not quite ready to put this page together, but I want to put this video out and share with you these beautiful watercolors that I made. I did this one as a practice because I haven't done this before, and I think it came very beautifully. I am maybe going to hang this up in my home, which my boyfriend is always telling me that I should do that and move out of the journals. So hey, there's a win right there. And these are so beautiful. Watercolor is such a beautiful medium to work with, and this is such a beautiful flower. If you are familiar with these, they are huge and they grow alongside the road in, I don't know, in the Pacific Northwest where I'm from, and they're just absolutely beautiful, growing wild and free, and they symbolize joy and they symbolize admiration, and they are very resilient flowers, so they symbolize resilience, and that's a beautiful message, especially paired with this page. It's perfect, and I'm very happy, and I'm ready to kind of move forward, but I just need a little more time to finish putting this together. So I'll come back and I will share that with you when I get it done. But until then, I am going to leave you with this beautiful message of, you know, I'm trying something new. I'm doing watercolor. I am learning to slow down and take the time I need. And that's a wonderful message. And so the Maximal mini journal is teaching me, there's a lot of messages for me in here, and I'm trying to listen to what it has to say and not rush things right now is what it's saying. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to get some other things done and come back to this when I'm ready. So, and I hope you will join me then. Until then, I hope that you stitch scrappily and scrap happily, and I will see you next time. Bye!